Let me know if this sounds familiar. Something pops into your head that you want to delegate to someone on your team. Maybe that's an employee or a team member. You call them into your office. Oh wait, we don't do that anymore. You call them on Zoom and you say, hey, I got something for you to do. I want you to do this, 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 and this. Come back to me when it's done. And then they leave or they get off the Zoom. Period of time goes by and you're thinking, man, where is that project that I gave that employee? And then you call them angrily and you go, hey, what happened to that project? Where is it? Has anything like that ever happened to you? If it has, I want you to know that you are not alone. I have worked with over 4,000 entrepreneurs in my company, All Star VAs, where we place virtual assistants in businesses together with systems and processes and everything else with the motive of making sure that you are working less, earning more, and having way more fun in your business. And almost to a T, every entrepreneur I've worked with makes the same mistakes when delegating to their team. And it's the one thing that causes your business not to grow and not to scale properly. So on this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to delegate. I'm going to go over all of the biggest mistakes that I see with entrepreneurs. Some of them are not what you think. So make sure you check out all of them and watch until the end because I tie it all together. When you learn how to delegate properly, I guarantee you that not only will your business grow and scale and skyrocket, but you will have more free time, you'll be able to have more fun, you'll be able to work less, and your business will grow without you. And that's what we all want. We all got into business and entrepreneurship for freedom. This, my friends, is how you get there. Let's go. The number one mistake you're making is that you're delegating tasks, not outcomes. Let me give you an example. A couple months ago, I wanted to grow my Instagram account. And so one of the things I could have done, and what most entrepreneurs would do, is go to their team, go to their social media manager and say, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start posting 5 times a day. I want you to start interacting with other people. I want you to spend an hour on Instagram. I want you to research top reels. Those are task-based assignments. And I'm sure that if I did that, my social media manager would have gone in and done those tasks robotically as I asked her to do. But the question is, would that have gotten me to my goal? Maybe, however, what I'm not doing by doing that is that I'm not actually giving ownership to my social media manager to not only create the process, but figure out the best way to get where I want to go. And the answer on how to get to that place where I want to go may not actually be what I thought it was, because at the end of the day, I am not an Instagram expert. Now, this is a real case study that I can show you. A couple months ago, we had started on my Instagram at 300 followers-ish, and I wanted to grow it. And so the right way to delegate is to delegate an outcome. And so I went to my social media manager, Amelia, and I said, Amelia, look, we need to grow Instagram. We got to get bigger. We got to have more presence. We got to have more impact. What do? I want you to go research and figure this out and come back to me with a plan of action. Because my outcome, what I want is I want to have influence on Instagram. I want to have impact on Instagram. I really want to make a difference. What do we do to make that happen? And so Amelia went out and she did the research and she figured it out and she came back with a plan. She had us join a great Instagram community with an awesome coach that's been helping us out. She created the different templates for all of the different types of posts we need to do. So our reels, our carousels, our memes, and all these different things. She told me what to film. So she said, hey, I need you to film these 10 things or 20 things for me so that I can make things out of them. And then she found the apps that would schedule out all those things on Instagram to make it happen. Outcomes versus tasks. Now, when you do it this way, I want you to just check out what happens. First of all, I've empowered Amelia to now take ownership of that project. I've allowed her to set the goals, to figure out exactly what we need to do. That creates a situation where she is not only empowered, but she has ownership over that project. And it's a much better way to do it than the alternative, which is simply task-based. And most of us, unfortunately, we're just not taught to do it this way. And so we revert back to our old task-based, top-down management approach. But if you do that, remember that the bottleneck is always going to be with you, because every time something needs to be done, people are just going to come back to you and say, well, how do I do it? Just tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it. This way you don't get that. This way you get great questions. You get powerful questions like, hey, I'm working on a reel. I'm trying to figure out why this one's not working or why this one is. Can you help me strategize, right? So those are much, much better questions. So what I want you to do on your next assignment, it doesn't matter, by the way, whether you're assigning something to someone on your team or an employee at your home or a construction or whatever it is that you're doing in any area of your business or your life. Think about how can you assign this thinking about the outcome versus the individual tasks that you want done. And I guarantee you, you will have a much better outcome because the people that you assign this to may surprise you and may do way more than you thought they could. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Danny. I run a company called All Star VAs. My mission and my passion is to help you earn more money, work less, and have more fun. And if you're into that, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to jumpstart your business, I want to invite you to book a call with our team. We'll go over your business, what's going on, where the holes are, what's keeping you up at night. We'll show you how we can install a cost-effective virtual assistant and an entire system into your business to shortcut your way to success and help you do just that. All right, back to the video. Along those same lines, one of the other things I see whenever I'm talking to entrepreneurs and they are assigning things to people and they say, the person just didn't do what I told them to do. They didn't understand it or whatever, something happened, we had a miscommunication. Those miscommunications are usually because of one of two things, but it all comes back to lack of assignment clarity. And lack of assignment clarity can be around the assignment itself. What do you actually want? Remember, the person you're giving this to is not a mind reader. You got to tell them what you want. And then number two, it's usually around timelines and expectations. So I want to cover both of those around this assignment clarity situation. So the first thing that I recommend you always do is whenever you give any kind of assignment, remember you're giving assignment based on outcomes, is you ask the person to repeat what is the assignment? What is the outcome that you want? So let's just keep rolling with my Instagram example. So what I would say to Amelia, for example, is, hey, what are you hearing me say here? What is the outcome that we're looking for? And if she says, hey, we want to get to 5,000 followers by end of first quarter 2026. And then I would say, okay, that seems like a good goal. And if the person needs to go out and research first and come back to you with a plan, that's fine too. But what you really want is you want them to repeat it back to you, not just one way. We've got to get away from top-down management. Top-down management is something that'll really hurt you long run because it won't allow the business to run without you because everything is dependent upon you. So we want to get away from that. So that's assignment clarity. Make them repeat it to you. The next one is timelines. A lot of times an entrepreneur will come to me and say, oh, this person's so slow, they just didn't get it done in time. And I said, well, did they know when the deadline was? And most of the time, the person just doesn't know. So once again, if you're going to communicate a deadline, what you could say is, hey, I'd like this done by Friday at 3. Does that work for you? Is that reasonable? And if you're not going to be able to get it done, make sure you let me know. So that's another one that I see as a roadblock for entrepreneurs all the time. Make sure that not only you understand the timeline, they understand the timeline, but everyone's in alignment on what exactly that timeline is. All right, number 3, this is a big one, and this has to do with decision authority. What I mean by this is a lot of times when we delegate tasks to others, we don't give them the ability to make any decisions. Again, we treat this as, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do and you're going to do it. And sometimes that works. I mean, look, if you have someone cleaning your house, you want to tell them like, hey, this is exactly how I want you to do it. Don't deviate from this. Don't give it any thought. Just do what I'm telling you, okay? That works in that context. It doesn't work in the context of your business, typically. By the way, in the house cleaning context, that's not a good way to do it either. A better way would be like, hey, this is what I'm kind of thinking, this is what I want my house to look like. Your house cleaner might surprise you. Tell them you want your house to look like the Ritz-Carlton or like the Four Seasons, and you never know what you're going to get. So let's go back to business though. So as far as decision authority, in some cases, you really want to allow this person to be able to make decisions. And I don't mean go out and spend, a ton of money, but at least to come back to you with a different plan that you might have envisioned in the first place. A lot of times what we as entrepreneurs think is correct may not be. We don't know everything. Don't pretend to know everything. When you delegate something to someone, allow them to make some decisions. Allow them to do their own research, to figure things out on their own. By really empowering your people to do that, I guarantee it's going to create a much happier environment, and it's also going to allow them to really feel like they're part of the team. And at the end of the day, that's going to get you much better results. So giving them some decision authority in certain aspects will really help you out. If this is an item that costs money, you may even give them a budget and say, hey, listen, I want you to make the best use of this. We have $300 a month budgeted for this. What is the best use of that money? And have them come back to you and tell you. And once again, I've been so pleasantly surprised so many times when I empower people that way. This works with your kids too, by the way. If you have kids and you do it, this is a great way to teach them to be resourceful and to figure things out, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of times it's not about your resources, but about your resourcefulness. All right, and now that we've talked about those main items that I see entrepreneurs making mistakes with all the time when they delegate, I want to hit on the good one, which ties all of this together. And that is that as your person that you delegated something to is doing the actual job, I want you to have a secondary track that they are following at the same time to not only do the job, but create a standard operating procedure around that job that includes key performance indicators. So what I mean by that is a lot of times, like if someone on your team or in your business is doing something, you want to make sure that this is something that's repeatable, that you can do again. I mean, unless this is a total one-off, a lot of times we're doing the same project and the same tasks over and over again. So you want them to document everything that they do and then create a standard operating procedure around it. I'm going to give you another example. I have a transaction coordination company. We do documentation administrative services for realtors. And a lot of it is transaction process driven. So, my manager at that company, Meg, when we hire and train and all of that, she's responsible for it. So when we did the first round of people that she hired and trained, I said, hey, Meg, I not only want you to do this, but I want you to document and create a standard operating procedure that includes key performance indicators and accountability, who owns it, and all that kind of good stuff, right? And so by doing that, what happens is that now, if we have to do it again, or when we have to do it again, she just refers back to that standard operating procedure. She doesn't have to reinvent the wheel again. And if Meg then wants to delegate this project to someone else, then someone else can follow that same SOP. So by following this framework where you're delegating properly and you're creating standard operating procedure around what you're doing, it's really going to create a business for you and not just a top-down task delegation situation, which is where I see almost every entrepreneur and how I see them doing it when they first come to me until we redo this properly. Now, all of this stuff is great, I will tell you, delegating properly, creating standard operating procedures, and all of that good stuff. However, one big thing I have to say is that every entrepreneur I see that really takes their business to the level makes one key shift in their mindset and moves along the 4 phases of entrepreneurship that I cover on this video right here.